I learned fast that the HOA can make lies feel official. She was already yelling before I finished walking up to the mailbox cluster. Krista Harlow, events director for the Briarwood Reserve Community Association in Austin, Texas, stood blocking the path with her clipboard raised like a shield and her face red. "You stole that package and I have the authority to confiscate your property," she said, jabbing a finger at the torn Amazon mailer I was holding. I looked down at the ripped envelope in my hand. It was empty. I had found it near my trash bins that morning, shredded open, nothing inside. "I came to report it," I said. "Someone stole my order." She slammed her portable rolling stamp pad onto the clipboard like a judge hitting a gavel. "Do not lie to me. This community has standards." I could lose my new rideshare driving gig if I missed shifts for HOA hearings or got tangled up in some fake theft accusation. And she knew it. Krista stepped closer, and I could smell her coffee breath. "You think you can just take things and play innocent? I have cameras. I have witnesses. I need to inspect your garage and porch storage right now." She pulled out her phone and held it inches from my face, snapping photos while I stood there holding the shredded mailer. I did not move. I did not grab her phone. I just stared. "Why would I report a stolen package if I stole it myself?" I said. She ignored me and kept tapping her screen. "Your camera does not matter. My minutes are the truth," she said. That was the first time she said it. "I filed a claim with the management office this morning," I told her. "They said they would pull the gate log and check vendor deliveries." Krista snapped her head up and laughed. "The management office works for me. I run events. I handle vendor access. Do not test me." She turned and walked toward the clubhouse, calling over her shoulder. "I am scheduling a surprise inspection of your unit. You have until tomorrow to open your garage or I will suspend your amenities access." I watched her disappear around the corner and felt my stomach drop. I had rideshare shifts lined up for the next 3 days straight, and if she locked me out of the parking gate, I would lose income I could not afford to miss. I pulled out my phone and called the management office. The line rang 4 times before a tired voice picked up. "Briarwood Reserve. This is Dana." I explained the package theft and Krista's threat. Dana sighed. "She does not have the authority to inspect your unit without board approval and a notice period. But if she files a formal complaint, you will have to respond in writing within 72 hours, or she can escalate it to a violation. The management office has a walk-in cutoff in 30 minutes. You should come in now if you want to file a counter-complaint before the weekend." I checked the time. I had a shift starting in 2 hours and the office was a 10-minute drive. I told Dana I would be there in 15 and hung up. Then I walked back to my unit, grabbed my tabbed binder where I kept all my HOA correspondence, and headed out. On the drive over, my phone buzzed with a group text from the neighborhood chat. Someone had posted a photo of me holding the torn mailer with the caption, "Caught red-handed." Another resident replied, "Always knew something was off about that guy." I felt my face get hot. The neighbor chat was turning on me, and I had to stay calm while being watched. I pulled into the management office parking lot and saw Krista's black SUV already parked near the entrance. My chest tightened. Inside, Krista was leaning over the front desk talking to Dana in a low, urgent voice. When I walked in, she turned and smiled. "There he is. Dana, I need you to log this. He was seen handling stolen property this morning. I have photos." Dana looked at me with tired eyes and gestured to the chairs along the wall. "Please wait. I will call you both in a moment." Krista sat down across from me and opened her clipboard. She had a stack of printed forms with color-coded tabs. She flipped to a yellow tab and started reading out loud, her voice loud enough for the other residents in the waiting area to hear. "Violation of community standards. Section 12. Theft or possession of stolen goods. Recommended action. Immediate suspension of amenities access pending investigation." She slammed her stamp pad onto the form and left a red ink mark. I stayed quiet and opened my binder. I had kept every email, every notice, every receipt related to the HOA since I moved in 6 months ago. I flipped to the tab labeled Deliveries and found the tracking number for the stolen package. It showed delivery confirmed at 10:15 the previous morning. I had been on a rideshare run at that time, and my doorbell camera had caught the driver placing the box on my porch. I pulled up the camera app on my phone and scrubbed through the footage. The driver left the package at 10:16. At 11:03, a figure in a black blazer and bucket hat walked up to my porch, looked around, picked up the box, and walked off-screen toward the clubhouse. I felt my heart rate spike. I had her. I saved the clip and checked the timestamp. Then I noticed something else. The same figure appeared again at 11:47, this time carrying a small locked cash box. I zoomed in. The cash box had a charity table sticker on the side. I remembered seeing a flyer about a donation drive near the pool gate last week. I took a screenshot. Dana called my name and I stood up. Krista stood up too, clutching her clipboard. We both walked into the small office behind the desk. Dana closed the door and sat down. She looked exhausted. Krista spoke first. He was caught with a torn package this morning. I have witnesses who saw him snooping around the mailboxes. He has a history of suspicious behavior. I want a formal investigation, and I want his amenities access suspended immediately. Dana turned to me. Do you have a response? I opened my phone and showed her the doorbell camera clip. This is from yesterday morning. The package was delivered at 10:16. At 11:03, Krista walked up to my porch and took it. Dana watched the clip, and her expression hardened. Krista leaned forward. That is not me. That is someone in similar clothing. Lots of people wear black. I played the second clip, the one with the cash box. Dana froze the frame and looked at Krista. That is the charity lockbox from the pool event last Thursday. It was reported missing. Where did you take it? Krista stood up fast enough to knock her chair back. I do not have to explain myself to you. I am events director. I have vendor access. I handle all clubhouse inventory. If something is missing, it is because residents like him are stealing. She pointed at me. Dana held up a hand. Sit down, Krista. You do not have the authority to suspend anyone's access without board approval. I am noting this in the log. Both of you need to leave now. I will escalate this to the board president. Krista grabbed her clipboard and walked out, slamming the door. I stayed seated. Dana looked at me. Send me those clips. I will forward them to the board. But be careful. Krista has been here for 5 years and she has a lot of pull. I nodded and sent the files from my phone. Then I left. Outside, Krista was waiting by her SUV. She saw me and walked over fast, her face twisted. You think you're smart. You think a doorbell clip proves anything. I have minutes from every board meeting. I have vendor logs. I have a chain of custody for every item that goes through the clubhouse. Your little video does not matter. I did not respond. I walked to my car and got in. She followed me, tapping on my window with her knuckles. I rolled it down an inch. You are going to regret this, she said. I am filing a formal complaint tonight. You will be at a hearing by Monday and I will make sure you lose. I rolled the window back up and drove away. My phone buzzed again. Another group text. Someone had posted, management is covering for him. Typical. I wanted to throw my phone out the window. That afternoon, I had back-to-back rideshare shifts, and I tried to focus on the road, but every time I stopped at a light, I checked my phone. The neighbor chat kept blowing up. Krista had posted a long message claiming I was under investigation for theft and that she had the authority to restrict my access to all common areas until the matter was resolved. She included a scanned copy of a form with her stamp on it. The form had no readable text, just blocks of dense print and a red ink stamp mark. It looked official. Several residents replied with supportive messages for her. One person wrote, "Thank you for keeping our community safe." Another wrote, "I always thought he looked sketchy." I gripped the steering wheel and kept driving. By the time I got home that evening, there was a yellow notice taped to my door. It was printed on official Briarwood Reserve letterhead. Violation notice, amenities access suspended pending investigation. I ripped it off and went inside. I opened my laptop and checked the community portal. My account status showed restricted. I could not book the clubhouse, I could not access the gym, and my parking gate code was flagged for review. I tried to log into the complaint portal to file an appeal, but the page would not load. I refreshed 3 times and got an error message. I called Dana. No answer. I left a voicemail. The next morning, I drove to the management office again. Dana was not at the desk. A younger woman I did not recognize sat there instead. I asked to speak to Dana. The woman said Dana was out for the weekend and I would need to make an appointment for Monday. I asked about my appeal. She clicked through her computer and frowned. I do not see an appeal on file. Did you submit one online? I told her I tried, but the portal would not let me in. She shrugged. You will have to call IT. I do not have access to that system. I walked out and sat in my car. I had 2 days before Krista could escalate this to a full board hearing, and I needed leverage. I called my mail carrier, a guy named Tom who had been delivering to Briarwood for years. He picked up on the second ring. Tom, this is the guy in Unit 214. I need a favor. I explained the situation and asked if he had seen anything unusual near the mailboxes or clubhouse recently. Tom was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Actually, yeah. Last week I saw Krista hauling a bunch of boxes into the storage closet behind the clubhouse. She told me it was event supplies, but one of the boxes had an Amazon label on it. I thought it was weird, but I did not say anything. I asked if he would be willing to make a statement. He hesitated. I do not want to get involved in HOA drama, man. But if you need me to back you up, I will think about it. I thanked him and hung up. That afternoon, I went to the pool gate to check the charity table setup. The table was gone, but there was a laminated flyer still taped to the fence. It listed the donation total as of last Thursday and mentioned a locked cash box for contributions. The flyer had no readable text, just a logo and some bullet points. I took a photo. Then I walked around to the back of the clubhouse and found the storage closet Tom had mentioned. The door was locked, but there was a small window near the top. I stood on a trash bin and looked inside. I could see stacks of boxes, some with shipping labels, some with Amazon logos. I pulled out my phone and took a photo through the window. The image was blurry, but I could make out the shapes. I heard footsteps behind me and jumped down. Krista was walking toward me fast, her face red. What the hell are you doing? That is restricted property. I held up my phone. Taking photos. You have stolen packages in there. She lunged from my phone and I stepped back. She missed and stumbled. A gate staff worker I had seen before, an older guy named Carl, came around the corner. He looked at Krista and then at me. Everything okay here? Krista spun around. He is trespassing. I need you to escort him off the property immediately. Carl looked confused. He lives here. He is not trespassing. Krista pulled out her clipboard and flipped to a red tab. I have suspended his amenities access. He is not allowed near common areas. Carl shook his head. That is not how it works. Only the board can do that. You cannot suspend someone's access without a formal hearing. Krista's face went darker. I am events director. I have full authority over vendor compliance and security protocols. Carl crossed his arms. No, you do not. I have been here for 12 years. I know the rules. You need to leave him alone. If you are enjoying this wild HOA drama, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Krista turned and walked away without another word. Carl looked at me and lowered his voice. She has been pulling this kind of thing for months. A couple of other residents have complained, but nothing ever happens because she is tight with the board president. Be careful. I thanked him and walked back to my car. My phone buzzed. A text from Tom, the mail carrier. I will help you. Let me know what you need. I sat in the parking lot and opened my binder. I started building a timeline. Delivery confirmation. Doorbell footage. Charity box report. Storage closet photo. Carl's statement. Tom's witness account. I needed one more piece to make it airtight. That evening, I called the delivery driver who had dropped off my package. I found his number from the tracking email. He answered and I explained the situation. He remembered the delivery. Yeah, I left it on your porch around 10:15. I took a photo for proof of delivery. Do you still have that photo? He said he did and he would email it to me. 10 minutes later, the email came through. The photo showed my package on the porch, time-stamped at 10:16. In the background, barely visible, was a figure in black walking toward the clubhouse. I zoomed in. It was Krista. I saved the photo and added it to my binder. Monday morning, I woke up to another group text. Krista had posted a message claiming I had been caught trespassing near the clubhouse and that she had photographic proof. She attached a photo of me standing on the trash bin by the storage closet window. The caption read, "This is what theft looks like." Several residents piled on. One wrote, Why is he snooping around restricted areas? Another wrote, he should be banned permanently. I felt my blood pressure spike. I opened the community portal and tried to file my appeal again. This time, the page loaded. I uploaded my doorbell clips, the delivery driver photo, and the storage closet image. I wrote a short statement explaining the timeline and requested an immediate hearing. I hit submit. The page refreshed and showed, appeal submitted successfully. I checked the status. It said, under review. 2 hours later, I got a call from Dana. She sounded rattled. Your appeal was opened this morning and then deleted from the system 10 minutes later. The audit log shows it was accessed from an admin account. I do not know who did it, but someone does not want this to go forward. I asked her to send me a screenshot of the audit log. She hesitated. I could get in trouble for that. I told her I needed it to prove the deletion. She sighed and said she would send it from her personal email. 5 minutes later, the screenshot arrived. It showed my appeal opened at 8:32 a.m. and deleted at 8:41 a.m. from an account labeled kharlow.admin. I saved it and added it to my binder. I called Tom and asked if he could meet me at the mailbox cluster in 20 minutes. He said yes. I grabbed my binder and headed out. When I got there, Tom was already waiting. I showed him the audit log screenshot and explained what had happened. He looked at it and shook his head. That is messed up. What do you need from me? I asked if he would write a short statement about seeing Krista move boxes into the storage closet. He pulled out his phone and typed a few sentences. He emailed it to me on the spot. I thanked him and he left. I stood at the mailbox cluster and checked the time. It was almost noon. I needed to get into that storage closet. I walked back to the clubhouse and found Carl near the pool gate. I asked if he had a key to the storage closet. He said he did, but he was not supposed to open it without a work order. I showed him the photo I had taken through the window. He squinted at it. If there are stolen packages in there, that is a problem. Let me see if I can get clearance. He pulled out his radio and called someone. After a short conversation, he hung up and looked at me. Management says I can open it for an inventory check. Come on. We walked around to the back of the clubhouse. Carl unlocked the storage closet and pulled the door open. Inside were at least 20 boxes stacked along the walls. Some had shipping labels with resident names. Some had Amazon logos. Some were opened and empty. Carl whistled. This is bad. I pulled out my phone and started taking photos. I documented every box, every label, every open package. Carl stood by the door and watched. After a few minutes, he said, I need to call this in. I am going to file a report with management. I nodded and kept taking photos. Then I noticed a small plastic bin in the corner. I walked over and looked inside. It was the locked cash box from the charity table. I took a photo of it and showed Carl. He shook his head. She is done. Carl locked the closet and we walked to the management office together. Dana was back at the desk. Carl explained what we had found and showed her a photo on his phone. Dana's face went pale. I need to call the board president immediately. She picked up the phone and dialed. I stood there with my binder, waiting. After a few minutes, she hung up and looked at me. The board president is coming in this afternoon. He wants to meet with you and Krista at 3. I checked the time. I had 2 hours. I went home and printed out everything. Doorbell clips, delivery driver photo, audit log screenshot, Tom's statement, storage closet photos, charity box image. I organized it all in my binder with new tabs. Then I sat down and wrote a 1-page summary of the timeline. I kept it factual and cold. No emotions, just dates and evidence. At 2:45, I drove back to the management office. Krista was already there, sitting in the waiting area with her clipboard and her stamp pad. She glared at me when I walked in. I sat down across from her and opened my binder. At 3, Dana called us both into the back office. The board president, a tall man in his 60s named Greg, was sitting behind the desk. He gestured for us to sit. Krista, I have reviewed the complaint and the evidence. I also spoke with Carl about the storage closet. Do you have an explanation for why there are stolen packages and a missing charity lockbox in a restricted area you control? Krista sat up straight. Those items were placed there by vendors for sorting. I was going to redistribute them at the next event. It is part of my role as events director. Greg looked at her. The packages have resident names on them. The charity box was reported missing. Why did you not report finding them? Krista hesitated. I was conducting my own investigation. I believed a resident was involved and I was gathering proof. Greg turned to me. Do you have anything to add? I opened my binder and pulled out the timeline summary. I handed it to him. This shows the delivery confirmation, the doorbell footage of Krista taking my package, the storage closet discovery, the audit log showing she deleted my appeal, and statements from 2 witnesses. Greg read through it slowly. Then he looked at Krista. The audit log shows you accessed and deleted his appeal from the portal. That is a violation of our administrative policies. Krista's face went red. That is a lie. I never touched the portal. I pulled out the screenshot Dana had sent me and handed it to Greg. It shows the timestamp and your admin account. Greg studied it and set it down. Krista, you are suspended from all HOA duties effective immediately. I am forwarding this to our attorney and to the police for a theft investigation. You need to leave the property now. Krista stood up fast, and her chair tipped over. This is insane. You are believing him over me. I have been events director for 5 years. I run this community. Greg stood up and opened the door. You need to leave, Krista. Now. Krista grabbed her clipboard and tried to grab my binder off the desk. I pulled it back. She lunged again and I stepped aside. Carl appeared in the doorway and blocked her path. She tried to push past him and he held up a hand. Do not touch me. Krista screamed. Your camera does not matter. My minutes are the truth. The room went silent. Greg looked at her. What did you just say? Krista froze. She realized what she had said. That line, the one she had used on me at the mailbox cluster, the one she had repeated in the group chat. It was the line only the real thief would use to justify ignoring video evidence. Greg stepped forward. You just admitted you knew about the camera footage before he filed his complaint. How would you know that unless you were involved? Krista's face collapsed. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. Carl gently took her arm and guided her toward the door. She did not resist. As she walked out, I heard her say quietly, I was just trying to help the community. Greg sat back down and looked at me. I apologize for what you have been through. The board will issue a formal statement clearing your name. Your amenities access is reinstated immediately. We are also reviewing our administrative policies to prevent this from happening again. I nodded and closed my binder. That evening, the management office sent a certified letter to every resident. The letter outlined the theft investigation, confirmed that Krista had been removed from her role, and clarified that all enforcement decisions would now go through the board president and management staff. Krista's discretion was gone. The neighbor chat exploded with apologies and speculation. A few residents who had piled on me earlier posted vague sorry messages. I did not respond. I just watched. 2 days later, the police came to Briarwood and interviewed Carl, Tom, Dana, and me. They reviewed the doorbell footage and the storage closet photos. They issued a report and forwarded it to the district attorney. Krista was charged with theft and tampering with HOA records. The board held an emergency meeting and voted to terminate her position. The vote was unanimous. A week after that, the HOA attorney sent me a settlement offer covering my legal fees, my lost rideshare income, and a formal written apology. I signed it. Krista moved out of Briarwood 3 weeks later. I saw the moving truck from my window. She did not look at anyone. She just loaded boxes and left. The community portal was updated with a new events director, a younger guy who immediately posted a transparency policy and a public inventory system for all clubhouse supplies. The neighbor chat calmed down. People started talking about normal things again, like pool schedules and trash pickup days. One afternoon, I ran into Carl at the mailbox cluster. He smiled and handed me a package. This one is actually yours. We both laughed. He told me the new events director had cleaned out the storage closet and returned every stolen package to its owner. The charity lockbox was returned to the donor group with an apology and a replacement check from the HOA General Fund. I asked Carl how he was doing. He shrugged. Just glad it is over. You did the right thing. I thanked him and walked back to my unit. A month later, I got a call from Tom, the mail carrier. He told me Krista had been arrested again, this time for stealing mail from a different neighborhood. The pattern was the same: packages, charity boxes, petty cash. She had been doing it for years. The case made the local news. I watched the segment and saw her mugshot. She looked smaller than I remembered. The news anchor mentioned that multiple HOA communities were filing civil suits. I turned off the TV. The certified letter trail showed Karen's dates did not match. The management office took over enforcement decisions and removed her discretion, and she lost her committee role immediately. The funny karma beat came when she tried to shame me and accidentally revealed a detail only the thief would know. The line about cameras not mattering and her minutes being the truth. It was the moment everything flipped. I had cleared my name, kept my job, and watched the system finally work the way it was supposed to. I still live at Briarwood Reserve. I still drive for rideshare. I still check my doorbell camera every morning. But now, when I walk past the clubhouse or the mailbox cluster, I do not feel the knot in my stomach. I just see a place where I stood my ground and won. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.